Hi, my name is James. What you're about to see is not a typical self-development exercise. This is a short demonstration of Ouroboros, an AI-powered system that makes transformation visible. Normally, the full process takes several hours. It's deep work. You write out 3 to 6 personal stories. The system generates 6 structural questions for each, and then it generates a full report, which is the blueprint of your personal transformation system. Today, I'm going to show you one key moment, the point where the system starts to come alive. You'll see how one story interacts with the Ouroboros prompt, and how structure, not content, reveals transformation. Before jumping in, let me say a little bit about what the Ouroboros system is. Ouroboros is a system for engineering personal transformation and growth. It uses AI's pattern recognition to reveal the system of transformation already running in your life. And it shows you how you can use it to change on purpose. We've all had the experience where change feels effortless. The insights happen naturally, and all of the circumstances just line up for us. It's clear what to do, and we just find ourselves doing it. And we've all had the opposite experience of feeling stuck. Maybe it was external circumstances, or maybe we just couldn't get out of our own way. We ask ourselves questions like, why can't I get my act together? Am I just leaving potential on the table? And that can be painful, even frightening. Ouroboros helps you understand why this happens. Not the way a therapist would, but the way an engineer would. That's what it means to become the engineer of your own life. The process unfolds through 5 recursive levels, each feeding into the next. Story gathering. Collect the key moments when things truly changed. This is the raw material that feeds the process. Pattern detection. Use AI to uncover the structure beneath those stories. The forces called recursive force multipliers, or RFMs. Shadow detection. Identify where your transformation energy gets stuck and learn to convert that resistance into fuel. Acceleration. Map your transformation engine. How change begins, sustains, and compounds until it becomes effortless. Lock-in. Anchor your transformation so it becomes self-reinforcing at the identity level. As you actualize your transformation system, you generate new stories of growth, which in turn can be fed back into the Ouroboros process, beginning a new cycle. The entire process takes anywhere from several hours to several weeks. It depends on your energy and focus. Instead of showing you the whole process, I'm going to show you part of level 2, pattern detection. In particular, I'm going to show you how the system starts to surface the transformation patterns in a single story. Okay, here's a sample story. This is just a made-up story. This is really typical of the type of story that you would use for the Ouroboros process. I'll read it out loud to you. So this happened a few years ago. I was in one of those periods where I just felt kind of stuck, like I was working hard, but nothing was really moving. Every day I'd sit at my desk and try to push through it. I'd open my laptop, start typing, delete half of it, start over. Just that heavy, frustrated feeling like I was trying to make something happen by sheer effort. One afternoon, I gave up and stood by the window. The light outside looked nice. It had that sort of silvery afternoon light. For some reason, it hit me how long it had been since I actually noticed anything outside of my own head. I realized I'd been trying to control everything. Like if I could just organize things right or plan perfectly, I feel okay again. But the more I tried to control it, the worse it got. So I just stopped. I went for a walk. I didn't think about work. I didn't try to figure anything out. I just walked. And by the time I came back, something had shifted. I suddenly had an idea for a project that felt alive again. Honestly, I hadn't felt that kind of energy in years. Nothing big changed outside me. I was still in the same apartment, same job, but it felt like the difference between pushing and letting something move through me. So that's a sample story. That's the raw material that Ouroboros is going to work with. Okay, so I've now attached the Ouroboros question generator prompt to this story. This is going to activate the system, and it's going to generate 6 questions which look for the structural transformational components of the story. So let's submit it and see what it gives us. Okay, so you can see it generating 6 questions now. So it asks the following 6 questions. What other moments in your life have shifted only after you stopped forcing movement and allowed yourself to feel again? What specifically about stepping away, seeing the light, walking, dropping the effort, lowered the activation energy enough for something new to break through? What helped that renewed sense of aliveness continue instead of collapsing back into the old pattern of control? How did that shift in energy show up in the days or weeks afterward? In your work, rhythm, your creativity, or how you moved through your space? What tension or fear inside of you tried to pull you back into over-control? And how did you keep it from taking over? What larger rhythm or system of your life did this experience unlock? What became possible because you remembered how to let something move through you? So there are a couple of things I want you to notice about this. First, it's not returning a lot of fluff. It's not telling you that you're brave for existing right now or any of the other sycophantic AI stuff that you often see. It's right to the point. It's asking you these 6 types of questions. And number 2, these are very specific types of questions. These questions are meant to get at the latent structure inside the story, the structure of transformation. It's trying to see how this particular moment might connect to other moments in your life. It's asking about cause and effect relations. It's asking about how the energy continued to develop in the days and the weeks ahead. This is important because these questions are getting at aspects of this moment in your life that you yourself may not be fully aware of, or you may not fully appreciate the significance of this underlying structure. The system is able to identify that structure and to bring it to the surface. And notice the system isn't giving you answers. It's giving you questions to help bring to the surface the geometry of your own growth. That's part of what makes this so much different from therapy. You're not sinking down into the emotional content of it so much. You're approaching it more from like an engineering point of view. So let's consider just a couple of these questions. So the first one is, what other moments in your life have shifted only after you stopped forcing movement and allowed yourself to feel again? So the person who would be going through this process now might say something like, well, there was this time in college that I was trying to pick a major and I was really stuck on this question for weeks at a time. Like I couldn't get over my own indecision about it. And then my brother invited me out for a weekend camping with him in the mountains. And the answer just suddenly came to me while I was sitting by the side of a lake that I would go into animal husbandry or something like that, right? That would be like a typical sort of answer to a question like this. But you can see what the question's doing. It's taking this particular incident and it's asking, like, what does it remind you of other things in your life? And starting to make these branching connections to other events that you might not immediately think are significant or connected, but they are. Let's consider another one. How did that shift in energy show up in the days or weeks afterward, in your work rhythm, your creativity, or how you moved through your space? Yeah, so the person might say something like, yeah, usually I have a tendency to second guess decisions like this, but for some reason, like I just had a lot of confidence in this. And it didn't just stop with this one reflection. I started making these plans in the days and the weeks afterward, and I started talking to other people in my life who I thought could help on this project, and it just turned out that they were available and they also had really cool ideas to contribute to it. And I was hitting these stumbling blocks along the way, but I just had this really deep feeling of belief in what I was doing for some reason, and it just kept driving me forward, right? And those are the types of answers that you would give to these questions, right? So for each one of these 6 questions, you would elaborate and it would really begin to fill out the underlying transformational structure of this story. And that's really one of the big differences between a process like this and just simply reflecting upon something or talking it over with a best friend or therapist. This is revealing the geometry of your transformation. It's giving you information that you can carry forward, that you can take with you out into your life and make similar kinds of change happen again. In the full Ouroboros course, you repeat this same process with all of your stories. And you end up feeding 3 to 6 stories, including all of the answers to all of the questions, back into the system. And it gives you your transformation system. That includes your recursive force multipliers, your shadow RFMs, your acceleration model, and your lock-in strategy. And that's how you take these changes that have happened to you and you turn them into a system that you can use to generate your own transformation going forward. That's what makes change self-reinforcing rather than effort-based. You've seen just one spark. Imagine what happens when the entire pattern lights up. If you'd like to experience your own Ouroboros map, the full recursive process, the full course is available on my Stan store. You can find a link to the course in the description for this video. You don't need more willpower. You need a structure that feeds itself. Step into the loop and let the system show you how to grow.